Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's good? That's right. This is the November 5th, 2023 Boxing Source podcast here. And, we got a few things that we're going to be talking about here in this particular episode, man. Definitely wanted to go through a few things here on this podcast as, we had some action that went down in the boxing scene. And know that there wasn't, as some would say, probably some big fights, but there was still, world title fight that was on the line. There was also, fights in the heavyweight division or fighting the heavyweight division that, took place. So we're going to be, going into that here in this particular podcast. And then we also have, some news, or we're going to be looking ahead to a couple of fights that are scheduled here before the end of 2023. And, that involves basically the main topic here on this particular podcast, man. We got, I would say it's something where, you have, what's going down between two fighters that, were kind of like shown as some of the higher skilled fighters, they're in the sport of boxing, but they ain't necessarily going, after each other or going against each other. You know what I'm saying? So there's basically that. With that being said, let's get right into it. You have, of course, what's coming up in a couple of weeks, as Shakur Stevenson is going to be going after the WBC lightweight title against Edwin de los Santos, and that will be in Las Vegas. But the main thing is that you had him, going after a certain fighter that was in the lightweight division in Devin Haney. And Devin Haney, who was the undisputed champion at lightweight, will be facing Regis Prograis for the WBC title at 140 pounds. And, they had definitely been going back and forth, leading into what was the main decision for Devin Haney to face Regis Prograis at 140 pounds. Is, there was something in reference to a supposed offer that was sent out to Shakur Stevenson, which in turn Shakur Stevenson turned down. And as a result, Shakur Stevenson, just stayed there at the 135-pound division, and Devin Haney moved up. So they've been going back and forth for some time now. And this one here was, yesterday or something like that, where you had it to the point of, Devin Haney talking about, what Shakur said in reference to Haney's fight against Regis Prograis. Shakur had said, Regis, hopefully Regis could do something to get the win. I think Devin may feel better at 140. Maybe he does beat Regis, but he does have a little trouble with southpaws, it looks like, going into, looking at that particular fight as a preview. But Devin Haney, he responded saying that, hey, I guess I'm not the only one struggling with southpaws. Said he heard about Liam Paro hurting Shakur Stevenson in sparring. And with that being said, that's where Shakur Stevenson had made a statement in reference to that, saying that all that Devin Haney does is lie and spread false rumors so y'all can eat it up and make a story out of it. See, he said on his daughter's life, Liam had never heard him. Go ask Liam himself how them sparring sessions was, and he said he got the videos. So once again, these two are going back and forth at it once again, and it's something where it's eventually, I feel like eventually they're going to go against each other one way or another. They're going to go against each other in the ring, man. I definitely feel like that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Definitely feel like that's going to be the case where these guys are going to face each other in the ring. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is like, man, I feel like after Devin Haney has his bout and Shakur Stevenson has their bout, yeah, I just see them more or less, going against each other, man. I just don't see like where it's something where like either one of those guys will, find a different direction or find a different opponent to fight in 2024. I just think that it's going to be something where it's gonna have these two guys go at it. That's the thing about it. So, you know, with that being said, man, um, with that being said, I just feel like these two guys, whatever happens with them, in this thing, when they go up against each other in 2024, I feel like they're gonna go against each other in 2024. There is going to be a really good tactical matchup between those fighters. But outside of that, they still have two fights that are pretty good matchups. So like I said, with Shakur Stevenson, he has his upcoming bout in a couple weeks against Edwin De Los Santos. That's going to be for the vacant WBC lightweight belt, man. Um, I know that the odds, have Shakur Stevenson, favored by a good little bit. Yeah, he's kind of a sizable favorite in that particular matchup. But that still doesn't seem like De Los Santos is somebody that's going to be out of it, so to speak. Santos is at plus 600, and Shakur Stevenson is at minus 1100 in DraftKings Sportsbook currently. So yeah, it just seems like, hey man, maybe they ain't giving De Los Santos much of a shot to either outbox or hurt Shakur Stevenson in their upcoming bout. But I feel like it's something where they have to go ahead and do something or say that it's that maybe De Los Santos has a shot in this bout that's upcoming. You know what I'm saying? So you do have that, and then of course you have Devin Haney going up against Regis Prograis. There, of course, Devin Haney moving up to 140 to face Regis Prograis, two-time world champion at 140. And for me, I mean, I feel like that is a very good bout, between those two. But they have Regis Prograis currently at plus 275. There at plus 275, with Devin Haney as a minus 380 underdog. So if you put down the 100 on Devin Haney right now, you could win 380 if he ends up winning the bout. But if it's something where Devin Haney could show, if he's one of those guys that could be one of the more talented fighters pound for pound, this is the opportunity. This is going to be his second division. This is going to be his opportunity to be a two-division world champion against Regis Prograis, who was coming off of a not so good performance there against Zhilei, that was in his area over in New Orleans, but after that, he looks like he's been preparing or looking forward to this bout against Devin Haney, and that he really wants to hurt Devin Haney in this particular bout. So you're gonna see here if Devin Haney can pull off this win against, like I said, a two-division world champion, where he won the title, the WBC title, with a stoppage victory. So definitely looking forward to seeing what happens there in that particular battle between those two fighters. But with this thing here with Haney and Shakur, regardless of the result of what happens this year, I feel like Haney and Shakur should go ahead and face each other, man. That's probably one of the better matchups that could be made or be done here in the sport of boxing. After Shakur has his bout with Edwin De Los Santos, I don't know what's going to be out, what else is going to be out there. I don't think you could have Vasyl Lomachenko. Nope, that ain't happening. Like Lomachenko's going to be likely facing George Kambosos next year. So after that, we'll see what happens. But then, what the got is, so many other matchups that could be made at 135 pounds. But I just see like the better matchup that could be made is Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. The only thing that could kind of throw that off is if Tank Davis faces one of those two guys next year. A shout out on the live chat here on the YouTube, man. Larry Lipson in the building. He says too many boxing fans complaining about Showtime cards and boxing cards, yet they don't really watch the product. Great fights last 2 weeks with Foster versus Hernandez, at Cordina versus Vasquez, and then the Curiel upset, man. Yeah, for sure. For sure. That thing, I talked about that fight, what it was last week with Oshaki Foster, and Shaki Foster, man, if he didn't get that stoppage victory, man, he would have lost the title because it would have took it from him. It would have took it from him in the scorecards, but he ended up getting that stoppage victory to win over Rocky Hernandez and, keep that belt there at 130 pounds. And so, I'll move to it real quick. The thing that happened with Joe Cordina and Vasquez, man, that was another fight that, kind of like was, fairly questionable for some fans that, maybe Joe Cordina maybe didn't pull it off against Edward Vasquez. And, that was for the IBF super featherweight title. So you had two world title fights there at the 130-pound division that, had like, was, fairly close, or, it could have been something where title could have changed hands. And, here it looked like, with Joe Cordina getting the win and Oshaki Foster getting the win, maybe they could have something where they have a unification bout. I know that Oshaki Foster said he didn't mind traveling to face Joe Cordina for that unification bout. So, that could be in the plans there in 2024, they're the 130-pound division. Of course, you have, Hector Luis Garcia that's going to be defending his title against Lamar Roach here, on November 25th. And then, of course, you got Navarrete that's going to be part of that November 16th card too. So you do also have that, man. So that was, really good competition, in that bout between Joe Cordina and Vasquez, Edward Vasquez there. It's just that, it ended up being a very close bout, between those two. Larry says, how I scored Cordina Vasquez. Feel like, says that Vasquez won the fight 7-5. Feel like Eddie wanted Cordina to win so he could make the Lee Wood fight. Well, it looked like Vasquez felt like Eddie wanted Cordina to win too. So, either it would be the Lee Wood fight or, like I said, the unification with Oshaki Foster. But, with that being said, I mean, I thought it was a fairly close fight that could have went either way. Could have been like 7-5 or 6-6 a draw. You know what I'm saying? But I really feel like it was something where it could have been, like I said, 7-5 either way. There was like a couple of rounds that were like hard to score in that bout, But Vasquez, had the push in the late part of the fight, so it could have felt like he could have edged it out. But here, like I said, they had those two scorecards for 116, 112 in favor of Joe Cordina, and in that case, that means two judges had it with 8 rounds in favor of Joe Cordina, and then of course, the one even scored 6 rounds to 6. But I didn't see where it could have been 8 rounds. I didn't think it was 8 rounds in favor of Joe Cordina. Nah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that being the case there. But like I said, man, usually with these type of fights, if it's really close and it gets to the scorecards, and then you have scorecards where it's either it's one scorecard even, but then 2 could be in favor of one fighter. That's how things go sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You have it to where it almost seems like it's like, oh, you gotta quote unquote beat the champ, and I don't really like that sometimes because it's like you you got to do something that's almost like you got to do a little bit extra in order to get a win instead of just fighting the fight like it's like everybody like both fighters are 0-0. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it's like even with the effort of Vasquez and that bout, I just don't see like where I think it's something where they say, hey, you got to beat the champ. And I think two of the judges made it that way. It said, yeah, William Foster, yeah, beat De Los Santos, and he had a tough, close loss to Henry LeBron. Yeah, but that was at 130. Uh, yo, struggle to see how Edward could upset Shakur. Yeah, I saw that fight between Foster and LeBron there in that fight card with Ajagba, man. I thought Foster would have been able to get the win there, but he just got hit with a little bit too much shots. Kind of like fought. I think he fought more of a fight that LeBron, would be able to take advantage of. Because in William Foster's last bout, I think he was on Pro Box, right? And he fought, pretty good bout, in that one, and he just, turned around and here against this fight against, Henry LeBron, he, it kind of like seemed like he was more of somebody that, like, he allowed LeBron to, get more of the advantage there in that bout. I just didn't really like how he approached this bout. To me, I just felt like he could have did much more in this one. Now, in that scorecard, you had it as a majority decision in favor of Henry LeBron, where he got a 96-94, but then there was like a 99-91 scorecard and 9 rounds to 1 in favor of Henry LeBron. I mean that's wild, man. That it wasn't like that particular fight had like clear rounds that Henry LeBron won. Where it was like 9 rounds to 1. Nah, so there it was pretty much like a tough break for William Foster. For him to get this loss, was like a little bit of a setback for him. So we'll see how that goes as far as like him and how he moves forward. From this particular point, because that was a fairly key bout there in that 130-pound division. I think you could have had something weird. It was what I would say. Where these fighters could have been able to move up in the rankings, so to speak. I mean, William Foster was at the time like at number 12 in the WBA rankings. So him losing to LeBron here in this bout, man, that was definitely a setback for him. But we'll see. He might move like a couple of spots down in the rankings, in some of these rankings. But outside of that, I don't know. He might be able to get himself back into the mix there at 130 pounds. You know what I'm saying? We'll back. Let's go back here, man. Francisco Villa says Haney don't want none of Shakur. Shakur Stevenson is the best fighter out there right now. Haney, Davis, and these other top fighters don't want Shakur Stevenson. I don't know about all that. I don't know about that. I will say this. There's one particular fighter that I think will have no issues fighting Shakur Stevenson next year. None. So we'll see how that, basically goes. But as of right now, like I said, Shakur Stevenson fighting Edwin De Los Santos, we'll see how that goes. The thing with Haney, like I said, he offered one contract out there for him, and Shakur passed on it. Talking about he didn't want no 25%. I was like, well, okay. Yeah, you ain't gonna get much more than that, So if Haney says that you're not, pretty much worth more than that, then that's it. And I think what it was like something in reference to, Haney and them talking to Bob Arum, And when, and this was like after Haney defeated Vasily Lomachenko. Like Bob Arum had offered Devin Haney a few fights, and he said Shakur Stevenson wasn't in any of those, wasn't listed in any of those three names. Like Shakur Stevenson was not listed. So, my thing is like, both of these guys, talked about facing each other, and like I said, maybe they'll go after each other next year sometime. But as of this year, that was like out of the cards. I really don't think that either one of those guys were really in the mix to really fighting each other this year. I just don't see it. Um, Larry Liston says, man, Joe said that there are rumored talks about a potential Lomachenko versus Tank fight next spring. Like Joe, but I really struggle to see how that could be true. Yeah, I mean, I see first off, Tank did say that he was going to be fighting in January, and pretty much around January of next year. So after that, we'll see, how he does or what he goes up against. Like I said, it's looking like it would be Isaac Cruz, but then after that, we'll see how he has a fight. Like I said, could be Shakur Stevenson. I think Shakur Stevenson, a fight with Shakur Stevenson could happen by the summer of next year for Tank Davis. Tank doesn't strike me as a guy to take that kind of tough fight. And Lomachenko got a vacant belt ready for him if he beats Kambosos. Tank will take that fight. I'll say that. He'll take that fight. He will take that fight. The thing about it is that will Lomachenko, or more importantly, will Bob Arum take that fight? And the thing with that is, it's like, is there enough money that they feel like would be available for Vasily Lomachenko to go ahead and take that fight? That's the thing. Will they say, okay, we'll have Lomachenko go out there and face Tank Davis, particularly now, given where Tank Davis is as far as like his overall status in boxing? Like, he's like the highest, he's like the biggest earner there in that, around that division. 135, actually, I don't think it's really that close. Even though Devin Haney gets like a high guarantee off the top, it still doesn't compare to what Tank makes. So if Lomachenko wanted it and he feels like there's a figure out there that's good enough for him, then maybe they could go see if there'll be an offer for that. But first, we got to see, where Tank Davis lands in his next bout. Like how much money is going to be put up for his next bout that's coming up in January, and if the returns are good enough for that, then maybe we see Lomachenko and Tank Davis. But first, we got to see Lomachenko versus George Kambosos. I think that's going to be, the fight that's next up. That's going to be for eventually the IBF belt there at 135. Because even if if there's any shot where Devin Haney wins over Regis Prograis, then he's going to be the 140-pound champ there with the WBC. So all of those other belts will be vacant. And, for me, I think it's more about the sanctioning bodies just saying, hey, what are you doing? Devin Haney, okay, if you're fighting this guy at 140 for a belt, then you got to give up them other belts. It's no different than, like, say, for example, with Terrence Crawford when he was undisputed at 140 pounds and he went up to 147. He fought for the WBO belt and he gave up those other belts at 140. So there's that. So what's that, man? He says, think Loma wants it to be its biggest payday. Yep, agree with that. It's more of a question of, as if you said, Aaron wants it. Yep. And I don't think he wants to sacrifice guys to build up Tank. Yeah, this is no different, man. Like, my thing, as for it says, my thing is this. You rarely see Bob Arum offer fighters under the top ranked banner to fight other guys that, are like, quote unquote, the A side, particularly through like Heyman fighters or something like that. You've seen it on the other side. You've seen it on the other side where it's like PBC guys or guys that have been under Heyman have went over the Top Rank and fought, in Top Rank bouts as a B-side opponent, but not the other way around. Larry says if it happens, I got Tank, but it would definitely be Tank's toughest fight to date. Yeah, from a strategic standpoint, it should be his toughest fight to date. Easily with Lomachenko, man. I think Lomachenko with his overall skill set and his level of experience, it would make it a difficult fight there for Tank Davis, man. And once again, it would be Southpaw versus Southpaw too. That's the other thing that I say, man. With Vaso Lomachenko being a Southpaw, Southpaw versus Southpaw, I think that would be a real good tactical matchup there for Tank Davis. It's just what would happen if Lomachenko gets hit clean by Tank? How would that go? So we will see how that goes with that, man. Also, what it's showing the divisions that these guys keep. They get to keep their belts even when moving up. The belts should have been scattered. Yep, when both Canelo and Haney moved up. That's right. But it's all about the money. Just being straight up with you. It's all about the money. When it comes to this thing. So when you have these guys that have these high guarantees, and with those guarantees, you're able to get percentage off of that, then you get benefit of a doubt, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no different with what we're seeing with the welterweight division. There's multiple mandatory challenges out there, but you don't see these sanctioning bodies calling for these mandatories. The WBC haven't really, you have an interim champion now in the WBC with welterweight. Just going through that real quick. Yeah, the IBF interim champion and Boots Ennis. You have the WBA regular champion and the Iamana Stanionis. The WBO hasn't called for their mandatory, so it's like, okay, now what's going to happen? So my thing is, like, these sanctioning bodies got to force the hand of these fighters, but with the amount of money that's tied to these fighters, they're not really, making these type of decisions. You know what I'm saying? And like with Canelo, has, David Benavidez as a mandatory challenger, but he ended up facing Jermell Charlo, So it kind of like makes for, a really crazy situation, man, that, these sanction bodies ain't really, forcing their hand. You know what I'm saying? The welterweight division is on hold. He said, it's on hold. Yeah, as Boots fan, makes me sad that he doesn't have a belt and can't get any opportunity. Yeah, they said, was out there in Atlantic City for his fight against Roman Villa, where he became an interim champ. Wanted to see about putting him in position for another fight before the end of the year. That's that ain't gonna happen. And they're trying to see what would be next for Boots Ennis. Like, they really can't find an opponent for Boots Ennis. So with that being said, that's why I say, why isn't the IBF pushing for the mandatory to be called? That should have been done already. Like, I know that you had the whole situation with Errol Spence, whatnot, but also you also had an issue with the mandatory spot in regardless. Folks that tried to fight for the mandatory or final eliminator didn't really work out, so it ended up having Boots beating multiple guys in order to be the top guy there for the IBF. And by the time he beat Castillo Clayton, then it should have been straightened out then, but it wasn't. Then he fought, Kieran Chikazian, still wasn't, settled in. And so when he fought Roman Villa, that's what did it, But either way, you still have all of these guys that are around the top of the welterweight division that hasn't had their shot at a world championship, Yeah. He said, Boots, Bosley said they were in negotiations with Crowley, but Crowley pulled out. Yep. Perhaps a Mario Barrios fight. I mean, but how that sell Boots is difficult to find fights for. I mean, Barrios said he would want to fight Boots. Like, he said he has no issues fighting, having a fight with Boots Ennis. So, it just remains to be seen how that's going to, work itself out if that, gets done or anything. I've been, trying to follow up with Mario Barrios, ever since his win that he scored over Yordanis Ugas in September. So if I'm able to secure an interview with Mario Barrios, I'll be sure to ask about that as far as like him potentially having a fight with Jerron Boots Ennis next year. So we'll see how that goes with that. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, man, that's gonna be an interesting situation there in the welterweight division for 2024. Just talking about that, so that's my take on that. You also wanted to talk about more action that happened. I know that we mentioned a thing there with Henry LeBron and William Foster III, with LeBron scoring that win by decision. You also had Ray Murataya there, going up against Diego Torres, and Ray Murataya just, basically went through this guy, scoring like, sweeping the cards, but it led to a technical knockout over Diego Torres. And so Ray Murataya is there at like 19-0. They're in the lightweight division, and here is somebody that is a solid contender. They're in the lightweight division in Ray Murataya, and he's one of those multiple guys that they have there at lightweight. They are fighting under the top ranked banner, right? And I've already mentioned them: Shakur Stevenson, Vasily Lomachenko, George Kambosos. You also had like Jermaine Ortiz that's been floating around there. You also have Keyshawn Davis, who notably had his decision win over Nahir Albright changed to a no contest because he tested positive for marijuana. And the thing about it is, yeah, for some folks that say, "Hey, it's marijuana," but rules are rules in the Texas State Athletic Commission. You gotta abide by the rules. You gotta follow the rules. And that's it with that. So with that being said, he's suspended for 90 days, and that scraps him. He was supposed to be fighting in December. That's out. So now we got to see what's going to happen with Keyshawn Davis next year. And I say, hey, where is the push for Keyshawn Davis to face Ray Murataya? That is a definitely good fight. I think that's a very good matchup that could be made there in the lightweight division. But it hasn't really been pushed all too much. But just wanted to drop that in there in reference to Ray Murataya. But of course, you have the main event. Efe Ajagba versus Joseph Goodall. They face each other in the amateurs, with Goodall getting a decision win in the amateurs. But Efe Ajagba ended up getting that stoppage win, fourth round TKO victory there for him to stay within the rankings of the heavyweight division. He was like ranked at number 7 in the WBC. Let me see, he's like number 13 in the IBF. And I was thinking he was ranked in the WBO, but he's not currently ranked in the WBO yet. But after the fight, they mentioned Efe Ajagba potentially facing Zhilei Zhang. And he was like, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of okay with it. I'm here to, I could face anybody or whatever it is. But I didn't really see any real push for him to say, yeah, I'm ready for Zhilei Zhang. I'm ready for that bout. Let's go ahead. Let's bring it. Let's do it. Didn't really see that there from Efe Ajagba. Now, I mean, he's kind of, proved in a sense, in his past few fights, of course, since his loss to Frank Sanchez. But, with this one here, I mean, he's kind of ranked around that 15, maybe 15 or 20 or so in the heavyweight division. And he does have some type of a belt there with the WBC, as well as being a silver champion. But out there, who would you favor him against? If he fought Jared Anderson, would you favor Efe Ajagba over Jared Anderson right now? I mean, like, congratulate Zhang. Would you favor him against Jared Anderson right now? Would you favor him against Arslan Bakhmagmadov right now? Or like what? Whether I'm trying to figure out what other potential matchups that they could put him up there where he could move up in the heavyweight ranks. Like I'm not sure. We'll see, man. We'll see. Catch up with the comments, man. Larry said like Murataya looks great, but I didn't really see Torres as that big of a threat. Yeah, I would like to see him fight Barboza or Jose Pedraza. Hey, yo, I mean, he like what was it? It was Pedraza, I think it was, right? That was supposed to be a potential opponent for Keyshawn Davis before Davis got caught with the weed. So maybe it'll be him versus Pedraza. Who knows, man? He says also that Ajagba, has to step up more. He's like around 30. I don't understand why Top Rank doesn't sacrifice Ajagba to Anderson. I mean, I know why. They know. And Jared knows, like their camp knows. Both camps know they've been sparring against each other. They know. I mean, they've been part of the same card, but they know, man. They know. But then again, he says you're not fully confident Jared is ready yet to step up to actual top 10 guys in the division. Well, I talk with Jared's trainer, on occasion, and over these past few fights or these past couple of years, they been bringing him along fairly slowly, in a gradual type of thing there. So him as far as like him facing someone like Efe Ajagba or anyone within the top 10, they ain't really jumping on that all too yet. I mean, he does have like another version of a WBC belt. Like he's the WBC USA champion or US champ. So I mean, we kind of like see that he's one of those guys that maybe could be a potential threat out there, and he's kind of like gotten a cosign from like Tyson Fury or whatnot. But with that being said, they still want to bring him along slow. So with Jared Anderson, they'll probably find him another opponent where he'll kind of like look good against, because he's another guy that could have potentially faced like a Arslan Bakhmagmadov, but they ain't really doing that either for Jared Anderson. So it's like, who else are they gonna put in there? We'll see. But I just don't see why they don't go ahead and make those matchups. Like I was mentioning before with Murataya and Keyshawn Davis. You could have this thing here with Efe Ajagba and Jared Anderson, but I think all those camps know, all those parties know that ain't gonna be a good look there, because it would just kind of put Ajagba out of the paint, so to speak. Even though he's supposed to be one of those contenders out there, man, Jared Anderson, will probably be highly favored against Efe Ajagba, and if he gets that win, then that puts Ajagba in the back of the queue. So that's the thing, man. The thing with PBC's matchmaking, he says he put prospects through the fire. Look at Ramos versus Lubin versus Fedor. They've had that's like right there in the 154-pound division itself. Ramos had about before Lubin, where he was against a young fighter there too, man. So you had Jesus Ramos against Joey Spencer first, and then you have him against Erickson Lubin. What was it before? Before you had who was it? Silver Matias, going up for a world title. They had him in a couple of big bouts, that were there, against prospects. So they really have that thing where they say, hey, we're gonna put you in against a guy that's around your level are at the same level, and then we'll see like who gets up above that, so to speak. So they really and yeah, I mean they put Colbert in there with Hector Garcia, but Colbert really he kind of like overlooked that, but Hector Garcia came through with that, then eventually won a world title, got the bout with Tank Davis. Now Garcia is going to defend his belt against Lamont Rhodes Jr. Coming up here in a few weeks. So we're going to see him in 3 weeks against Lamont Rhodes Jr. and that's going to be Lamont Rhodes' second world title bout too. Like he lost to Jamel Herring a good time back, which was 4 years ago. Now he built his way back up to becoming a number one contender, and now he has another shot at the world title. So we'll see how he does in his bout against Hector Garcia. I think Hector Garcia is a fairly good fighter. Fairly good, has good boxing skills. Has a great trainer. There. So it's gonna be a good matchup. When that happens. So we'll see how that goes, man. Who do I favor in that fight? Phew. That's a good question. I think it's given what he's done so far. Right now, I slightly lean towards Garcia. I slightly lean towards Garcia. Uh, that he has a little bit more to be able to get the better of Lamont Roach. But will still say that like Lamont Roach still could have a shot to win. I mean, it's not too much of a difference to me. I'll probably lean towards like 55 or 56, 56, 44. You know what I'm saying? Towards Hector Garcia for that win. So maybe we get something weird. Maybe Lamar Roach is able to perform very well in this. It's just that given the competition that Hector Garcia has had over his past few fights, I lean towards him there in that bout. So that's why I got with that. But with that being said, man, I mean I would just have to look at more coming from that. Hold up, Zoe. I'm gonna see if I can have you jump in here real quick, so you could chop it up here for a little bit, man. You'll have your takes on a few things, man. So I'm gonna hit you with the link on here real quick, man. Uh, let's see if I can get this thing in here, um, and see if you're able to jump on for a bit. So. So yeah, I just hit you up with the link here on that side, so you'll be able to jump in and have your take on what's going down. First with the Haney and Shakur joint, and then what else is what else I've been talking about here over the past few minutes or so. You know what I'm saying? Um, he said Jose Benavidez, Mel Charlo, Caesar been scrapped from the Showtime card. No, I haven't seen any news on that. I haven't seen any news on that. That unless if there's been a recent thing that's went down, I haven't seen any news on that being scrapped. That's supposed to be part of their card, man. That it's I haven't seen anything in reference to injuries, nothing like that. Like, I mean, I ain't heard it from Coach Ronnie. Haven't really heard anything from Coach Ronnie on that. So I say that fight's still on. That fight should still be on between Jamal Charlo and Jose Benavidez. So unless we get something brand new on that, then that fight's still, there's a co-feature about two, David Benavidez and Demetrius Andre. But here we got Lord Joe in the building, man. What's going on with you, man?
Man, what's up, man? Long time no talk, man. What's up, man?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. I mean, you had like a little bit of things going on in boxing, but nothing that like kind of like captivated most of the boxing fans here this week, man. So I was talking about the whole thing with Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson talking back and forth to each other again, um, and how like that. I just think that's going to culminate into a fight next year, maybe. But
Nah,
if it ain't, then Tank's going to
nah,
fight one of those two fighters next year.
nah. I don't see that. I don't see either happen that early.
Not by the summer.
Nah, I think we get like Tank versus Shakur 2026,
Damn.
and then depending on how Haney looks out, depending if Haney is still like thriving at 140, if he's still, if by then I'm thinking he should be unified by then, and then I could see Shakur jumping, or I mean the winner of Shakur Tank jumping to 140 to fight him, and I think all that happened in 2026. I don't think it happens too early. I don't think next year.
Yeah, like 2026, man. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, cause what is it, man? Where's Tank at? He'll be over 30 by then, won't
Yeah, but the way I'm looking at it, I say I'm looking at Shakur to go Edwin De Los Santos win the WBC, then Jeremiah Ortiz, as a cupcake fight. And then after that, he fights for either the vacant title Cambosis win, and then he probably fights Navarrete by then. They probably built that fight up to be something they could put in pay-per-view. Then they make him fight Lomachenko. And then on Tank side, it would be Tank fights Isaac Cruz, then William Zepeda, then Frank Martin, and then they'll find some filler to throw in there. You feel they'll get creative with 2 extra fights, and by 2026 they'll fight each other, and that fight would be like a million pay-per-view buys type situation.
man, Williams Zepeda though. Williams Zepeda, like I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I mean, first off, you had this whole thing with Isaac Cruz, right? Um, and there's some folks that aren't necessarily liking Isaac, the Isaac Cruz rematch. But Williams Zepeda, like, nah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a fight. I think that's a fight you can sell. I think that's a fight you could sell to the tune of 350K buys. I think that fight can do that type of shit.
Yeah,
Zepeda's what people think Isaac Cruz is. He still gets knocked out, but he's what everybody think Isaac Cruz is.
yeah, pretty much. Hey, Larry Listen says, might sound crazy, but I think it's right. You're right.
Yeah,
Man, I have to
yeah.
wait till 2026, man.
I mean, I'm prepared, and then I think Devin goes Prograis, Garcia, Ryan Garcia. I mean, Teofimo Lopez becomes unified. Then I think he goes. He probably, if he fights Tio, he probably fought. He probably signed like a 3-fight deal with ESPN, so he probably fight Tio and then follow that up with like Kenny Sims and then Jose Ramirez, and then he'll fight Ryan Garcia. By that time, Ryan Garcia probably got a WBA or one of those trinkets and shit. Then that should have segue into the winner of Tank versus Shakur. I think that's how it's gonna play out.
mm, now, yeah, the thing with Haney though, if he's able to beat Reese's
Progress.
Pieces,
That's a
then
big if. Yeah, that's a big if.
yeah, it's a big if. But if he's able to do that, like he really is able to make some moves though, because he would have that WBC belt at 140, uh, and whether he's able to go back on top rank or not, like he would have that fight against Teofimo Lopez, then that would be something. But you also,
That's a big fight. That's you
yeah,
could
that's
put
a
that
big
on pay
fight,
per
yeah,
view.
for sure.
Especially
Uh,
after the Prograis fight and the current run he's in, that would be a big fight.
yeah, I mean he'd still be undefeated, two division world champ. So he'll be able to get command some more as far as like how much money he could probably get. But outside of that, man, I don't know. Maybe Ryan Garcia fits himself in the mix somehow with Devin
Yeah.
Haney. I'm not sure how, but maybe.
All he
Uh,
has to do is get a belt, and the avenues there. As long as Rolly has that title,
yeah, but they tried that, and Rolly claimed that he was injured, and he showed he showed some evidence of him having an injury. So it's like they're gonna have that eliminator bout with O'Hara Davies and that old dude Barroso.
Yeah,
and
it's late.
winning
It's
that
late.
will be facing Rolly Romero next. So that kind of like ties him up for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Uh, Teofimo fighting Ryan supposedly in early 2024. You know the
I'm
other,
not buying that.
yeah, but you know with Teofimo too. Like I gotta look into this. I thought that Teofimo, man, I thought Teofimo, had his last little run with Top
Top
Rank. I
right.
thought he had a three fight.
It
I thought he had
doesn't.
a three fight with the last one being the Taylor fight. But yeah,
It doesn't sound like that's his right. I mean,
it don't sound like that, do it?
yeah, he don't. He don't move. He ain't moving like that.
Yeah, Brian Garcia is a little overrated. Hey man, some people
Yeah,
say yes.
he's super overrated. He's super overrated, but he's popular, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
At the
he's
end of the day, I think by the end of 2026, when the dust clears at the end of the year, we're gonna get a mega star, and that nigga's name's gonna be Shakur Stevenson. Because by the time 2026 end, if I'm right in how this shit goes, he would have beaten Lomachenko, he would have beaten Navarrete, he would have beaten Tank Davis, and he would have beaten Devin Haney.
yeah. If he's able to do that, then yeah, he would definitely be that star. I just don't like. I don't know how that's gonna work out. I still think one that either Shakur faces Devin Haney or Tank Davis by next year, but
But that would require them niggas, because I don't think Devin Haney's ever going back to 135. I think that shit's
I
dead.
don't think so either, man. That's
And I
my
don't, yeah, and I don't think Shakur or Tank is in any rush to go to 140. I'm not saying I don't think they both them niggas is at 135. As long as Shakur knows Tank's at 135 and Tank knows Shakur's at 135 down the road, both of them don't have no need to go to 140. And I don't think that fight really has to happen right now, because I feel like TNT has some fight set up that they know is gonna get them a good 200K. You feel me? No matter how much people complain about Isak Cruz shit, the rematch is gonna do a minimum 250. The Williams that pay this shit, I'm confident that shit could do 300. You feel me? And then by the time he's gonna get the Frank Martin and shit. Who knows? They might get creative and they might find a way to make a Gary Russell Jr. fight, man. And Gary Russell could make some noise, man. Or if not Gary Russell, Chris Colbert. If Chris Colbert could reclaim a title back at 130, they could make him jump up and be a filler fight.
Yeah, I mean, that Gary Russell Jr. and Chris Colbert were, kind of like mentioned as potential opponents for Tank Davis in the past. But the thing with the thing with Gary Russell Jr. is one. I mean, of course, with his dad passing, he's pretty much the head trainer for his two other brothers, and
Yeah,
and that kind of like has sidelined him for a good little while. So he ain't really in the mix to kind of like be in the ring all too much right now. So that
right.
kind of puts him out, and I wouldn't put Gary Russell Jr. right back in the ring to face Tank Davis like that.
And I'm not saying right back in the ring. I said you get him an interim fight,
Mhm.
then you get him. Then if everything's shaking out how I think it is, I think eventually, sometime next year, Chris Colbert's gonna rematch Hector Garcia. He's gonna get the title back. I think you give Gary Russell an interim fight. And then after he gets, the interim fight, get his rust off, you bring him against Chris Colbert, and you put that shit on the undercard of a 10th fight. And then the winner of that shit could jump up to 135. They would get the WBA title. The winner of that shit go to, you have a fight. You have a fight that could sell 300K. And the nigga's gonna talk enough to sell that shit. The niggas know how to fucking talk the thing. They're gonna talk that talk.
Yeah, man. I mean, you'll see. We'll see how that works itself out. Especially with the thing with Chris Colbert, because they were trying to see if he's going to be fighting Ryo again, and if he fights
Yeah.
Ryo again, then we'll see if there's going to be even more talk about him facing like a Gary Russell Jr. or getting back in the tank mix. Georgie jumping up in the comments, he said Devin will beat Regis and fight Sue Brill because Devin is on a one fight deal and Tio is super champ. So Dev versus Tio 2025 and maybe Ryan. I gotta look to see if hold on, I'll see if I can verify that
Man,
Tio Fimo Lopez because I don't like I didn't really see him like being being listed as the super champion in the WBO. You know,
I'm gonna be, but no,
yeah,
Tio is
yeah,
a
he
super
is.
champion. Tio is
Yes,
the super champ. But I'm gonna
yeah,
say Haney's not fighting Sabril because number one, Sabril don't bring no money, and number two, that's a fucking dangerous fight. And I knew why do that? You feel me? There's other shit you can take, man.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll see, man. George also says he said, yeah, that Devin versus Surreal easy to make because T was looking for money from Bob, and I don't think Top Rank will put up the money he wants. That's why he's retired. I mean, he says he's retired, he's retired, or whatever it is. Like I don't know when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, man. I don't know. Um,
Man, that nigga not retired. He just don't want to fight Arnold Barboza. That's all it is. He just don't want to fight that nigga. So he want to
I mean,
preserve his shit.
that's probably why Top Rank had to have that card in December over in freaking Pembroke Pines, man. Like, come on, man, Pembroke Pines, and it's gonna be Robeisy
Man,
Ramirez defending the WBO featherweight title in the main event. Like, oh, come on, man. Like,
man, they need to put Robeisy Ramirez on the undercard of some of Inoue fights to build that inevitable fight at 126. It's gonna happen probably next year.
I
Well,
mean,
not next year. Mhm.
he's been on one before, but that's over in Japan. And the thing is, I don't think they had him on for one card that Inoue was in for the U.S. Because I mean, Top
Oh
Rank
yeah,
had
I'm tripping.
fights
Yeah.
in the U.S.
No,
But
I'm tripping. I'm tripping anyway. That and anyway got like one fight left with his top rank deal. Just soon as it's just I guess top rank side of the deal is they only promote the fights he have in America. So he's still due for a fight over here to end his contract.
yeah, word. And Larry, let's just talk about the thing of the heavyweight division. He says, let's be real. How can anyone favor Francis Ngannou to beat Deontay Wilder? I know Wilder isn't the most technical boxer, but he sure knows how to use that right hand against guys with slow feet. He says, I like Ngannou, but he ain't beat AJ and Wilder. Just keeping it real. I mean, the thing about it is, man, they just looking for money, man. Unless if they
Do
say that Ngannou is gonna fight a
do
guy
we
like
do we really have to talk about the heavyweights? We really got to talk about these people, bro.
yeah, because they ain't fighting each other. That's why it should.
No, they fucking suck. Nigga, this a fucking nigga. You know,
yeah.
my my entire gimmick, my entire gimmick on social media is how garbage UFC fighters are at throwing hands, and then Tyson Fury brought shame to us all. Like shame on you. I hate this guy, bro. I hate him. I hate him, bro. Like, bro, I can't wait till I wake up in the morning. I hear the news that he was in a car accident, a bad one. I hate him.
Oh, don't do that, man. Don't start.
Yes, no.
No,
That
we
drug.
can't.
He,
No, we
he,
can't. We can't have that. We can't have that on this public space, man. We can't.
okay,
Listen, you know what I'm saying?
these views are not expressed. These views are not expressed by boxing source. This is strictly me. Oh my God, bro! Like, yo, did you see? I mean, don't get me wrong. I had Tyson Fury win in 95, 94, but still. Come on, bro. Have you seen Ngannou fight in the octagon? You see how he winds up his punches, where he loads his punches from. You lost it. Is like you struggled against this guy. I don't care if you didn't train one day, bro. It's a UFC fight, man. Let's not talk about these heavyweights. They suck. They all suck.
Oh man, all right. So we ain't gonna talk about these heavyweight fighters, man. We ain't really
Wilder
got
suck.
that much action here coming up next week. So the only thing we're looking forward to is that fight card with Shakur Stevenson and Edwin De Los Santos, and then you had that co-feature bout with Emmanuel Navarrete out there against Robson Cosesal,
How you
man.
see that fight going? How you see the De La Santos Shakur going?
Man, it should be a clear decision win by Shakur Stevenson, man. I'm seeing that. Looks like the books are seeing that. Like I said earlier in the show, minus 1,100 favorite for Shakur Stevenson. They got De Los Santos. I think it was at plus 650 on DraftKings. Yeah, I'll go back to that. Oh, plus 600 for Edwin De Los Santos, man.
You
Uh,
see, I see a stoppage.
stoppage by Stevenson.
Yeah, like a nine around round 9-10 stoppage. I think around round 5 on it, he gonna start beating the shit out of him. He gonna start beating some empanadas out of that boy.
Man, he's well. It says plus 300 for Shakur Stevenson by TKO on the odds there for DraftKings. So you do have those odds out there in reference to Shakur Stevenson, but it's more about him, getting that leaning towards that decision win there, as it's minus 270 by the method. So if you
Okay,
do.
I gotta ask you, is there any truth to this potential Canelo Mungia shit? Please tell me that's not a real story.
Man, that thing, man. I said, nah, man. I had posted that thing there earlier, or a week or so ago. This came from like what ESPN Mexico or something
Yeah.
that Munguia could be a potential opponent there for Canelo Alvarez. Well, first they got to see about Munguia facing John Ryder first. They got to
Yeah.
get that scheduled.
But why
But
is he fighting John Ryder? Like, why is Mungia even fighting with John Ryder at this point of this? Yo, that guy, bro. That guy's the most babysit dog. I never seen a fighter ride the training wheel so damn long, and he had a title before.
yeah, I mean. The thing is, man, of course, when both Munguia and Canelo were on the Golden Boy, they were like trying to put it to where Munguia would eventually face Canelo. But at that time, he wasn't really doing much at all, man. Like he wasn't really developing as a fighter, so they
He
couldn't
still
really
hasn't developed.
throw him to the wolves. You know what I'm saying?
He still hasn't developed, bro. Like, yo, but I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Triple G right now, just because Triple G's so old and shot. I wonder if he just could beat him with sheer athleticism and activity.
Yeah, but it just seems like if they're gonna face Golovkin, it would see like how much money will be out there for Golovkin. Because if you ain't got the money for Golovkin, he ain't getting on the bed for it. I just see that,
That's
man.
fact. That's
He
fact.
said, "Who will T.O. fight next? I don't see T.O. fighting Devin anytime soon. The clash of styles favors Haney, counter puncher versus pure boxer. And Sabril won't ask for 2 million to fight Dev. The thing with Haney, man, yeah, T.O. has issues with guys that are like counter punchers, or you don't really come forward all too much. We've seen that, with his bout that he had against what it was, Martin Sandor Martin, right? Like Sandor Martin was like a guy that was counter punch. He would like fight off of his back foot. He would make Teofimo Lopez look bad, and I was there for that bout at Madison Square Garden, man. That was a decision win for Teofimo Lopez, but some felt like Teofimo Lopez lost that fight. So as
I,
far as like a style matchup goes, like I don't know, man. He wouldn't be a
honest,
good. I don't know.
I honestly think Teofimo is one of those guys that he fights to the level of his competition.
Competition. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he fights to the level of competition. I still don't get me wrong. I would pick Devin Haney to win, but I would pick Haney to win by literally the skin of his fucking teeth, and he might have to get up one time. I think he'll win. I think it'll be like one of those 114, 113 type of cards because he had to get up off the canvas one time. I think it'll be a real if this is Teofimo like firing at all cylinders. This is not a distracted Teofimo that have to worry about his baby mama. This is not a Teofimo with a fucking that's half dead in the ring that should have been in the ring. If this is a fully engaged still, like he gives this nigga like that's a life and death battle with fucking Haney. Haney would still win. Don't get me wrong, but it's a life and death battle.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, he had that little incident there before his fight with George Kambosos, and even with that, he was still able to score a knockdown and
Yeah,
it'd be a close fight.
and when
And
the back half of the fight, he won a lot of the rounds in the back half of the fight too.
yeah, yep.
So
But
like,
then he
yeah,
had with this latest performance there against Josh Taylor, like a number of folks favorite Josh Taylor, in that bout, but Teofimo was able to perform the way that he performed. That was probably his best performance overall. Like even
yeah,
even better than his fight against Lomachenko, because you know,
Loma took over in the second
it
half of
wasn't
that
really
fight.
that close. You know.
Yeah, yeah, like that. That's what I'm saying. When he's clicking in all cylinders, man, like you feel me? He's an athletic, explosive counter puncher. He's smart. You feel me? He's really crafty with his punches. But look, like I said, I'm still taking Hayden to win. But yeah, I think a lot of people who say it's a bad matchup, it has to do because he has a little Jay Tony syndrome. You feel me? He might look great against Michael Nunn and go up against a bum and be like, "What the fuck was that?" You feel me? Like some people just have that in them.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, but back on that thing with Shakur Stevenson De Los Santos, that card. You also had that Navarrete versus Conceição. That's
Stop
another
it.
one that's like bad odds. Like
Stoppage.
Navarrete's plus, I mean minus 1200. They say yeah, stoppage, man. Yeah, I say a stoppage there, man. Like Conceição, I don't see where he would kind of do something to really affect Navarrete. And the overall activity of Navarrete will just beat down and wear down Conceição. So I say
Yeah.
like mid round stoppage in that one, man. That's gonna be a real thing there, man. Definitely a bad situation there for Robeson Conceição. Uh,
I Top Rank's gonna be. I think Top Rank is gonna for his next like 2-3 fights. They get match up Navarrete with those type of guys, like shit that makes him look like an unbeatable monster. Because I think eventually they want that pay-per-view fight with Shakur Navarrete. They're already hinting towards it. They want that shit eventually.
yeah, I mean they already put Navarrete there against against Oscar Valdez, and you seen it like how he did against Oscar Valdez this year.
Yeah,
So it's almost like they're writing a book on the wall as far as like having Navarrete eventually move up to lightweight, because like I don't see him getting a instance where he's gonna have a unification bout against those other guys at 130. You know,
yeah,
um,
that's not happening.
yeah, yeah, that's not happening. So they're saying like just why not go ahead and have him go through this bout against Conceição and then have him move up, and then eventually have Navarrete go up against Stevenson next year. So that's the thing with that, man. So they kind of like having that writing on the wall for that. You know what I'm saying?
I think
Uh,
that fight will do like a good 150.
oh, what's that?
I think that fight could do 150.
What Shakur?
Navarrete, I think that shit could do 150K.
That would probably, but that would probably be what we call his first pay per view.
Yeah,
Shakur.
that'd be his 50. That's what I said. I think it'll do 150.
Yeah. So if they do
Well,
that, then they'll probably set up Shakur up to face one of those other guys out there in the
nah,
upper.
that'll
So
set him up to fight Lomachenko right next for
oh yeah,
another
yeah, yeah, yeah,
pay-per-view.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Now if they go, like I said, if they go through this card here in November, and then next year, maybe set it up to where it's like that Navarrete will have a fight at 135 first, and then he'll face Shakur. Then they'll have that as a pay per view. You know what I'm saying? And then once that's done, and if Shakur wins that, and if Lomachenko and Kambosos happen and Lomachenko wins, then you're gonna have Shakur versus Lomachenko in like a unification bout there for a pay per view. So that'll happen there in reference for a top rank. But yeah,
yeah. So
outside
that's
of
why. Because think about it. I think Cambosis is the number one for the IBF, right?
yeah, I just had this joker on here. Kambosos, well, he's the top ranked in the IBF. He's they have the top spot vacant, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's like the top part. He's like their number two, and Vasyl Lomachenko is at number three.
And then for the WBO, Loma is like the top spot, right?
Loma is at two, Shakur is at one.
Okay. Well, okay, yeah. But once Shakur get the WBC, so that means like when all these titles by Haney go vacant, three other titles gonna be on top rank side. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna take. They're gonna do that. They're gonna reverse what they did with Bud. So he's gonna clean up that side. He's gonna get from the IBF from Cambosis. Then he's gonna fight Navarrete in a little pay-per-view fight. Then go in another pay-per-view fight Lomachenko for the WBO. He has 3 belts. So by the time he fights Tank, that should be for undisputed because Tank will have the WBA by then.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see how that goes, man. Georgie said like, hey, he's spoken that with De Los Santos said he'll face Navarrete that's on the undercard, and then he's a free agent next year. So I'll be interested if Shakur goes for Tank. He says like if Shakur is a free agent next year, so I want to Tank will fight him. Well, the thing with Shakur too, though, is Shakur, has as they say, so many hands in the pot.
Jay
so
Prince.
so I'm not sure. Maybe he's able to move forward, maybe not. But we'll see. Maybe
I don't see him moving forward, bro.
I don't either, man. At least not next year. It's like a highly unlikely, man.
I honestly think he's gonna get. I honestly think he's gonna get a ridiculous, a fucking Terence Crawford style guarantee like contract, like get his shit structured like that, where he get like 3 million a fight guarantee type.
off the top, yeah.
Yeah, like, and he's gonna say yes to that until you feel me. That's just gonna sustain him up until 2026 when we fight taking the super fight, the fight that's gonna do 1 million buys.
Yeah,
Like,
what? But I think fans in general, man, they ain't gonna be all too excited about that, man.
I mean, they won't even notice, man, because the Tank fans, they complain now. They're gonna be happy about Isak Cruz. They're gonna be happy about Williams Zepeda. They're gonna be happy about Frank Martin. They're gonna be happy about Colbert, Gary Russell, whoever. They'll be happy about that shit.
Dang, man, like Tank and Frank Martin are like the oldest in the group out of all that.
Yeah.
You know,
And then
they're
and
there.
then we and then I even threw in the wild card. There's a wild card out there for both, for especially Tank. There's a wild card opponent out there that could just break all fucking financial records. And you know who I'm talking about? Who's the wild card?
What for Tank?
Yeah.
Oh no, man! Don't say no. It better not be him, man. Don't say.
Come on, you know there's only one dude. If you put him against Tank right now, that's gonna do like 1.5, 1.7 million. You know who it is.
Man, it ain't Pacquiao, man. Come
No,
on.
I'm not talking about Pacquiao, but he's Asian.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as Tank stays at 135, then
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Especially if that nigga goes up to 126, beat Roberto Ramirez and get some more belts. You feel me? Go to 130. By the time Navarrete won't be there, so whoever, it might be a little cupcake there at 130.
Now see, that could be the fight for 2026. Is Tank in the monster. That could be the fight for 2026 because the way that Inoue talking, it's like he wants to fight more than one more fight at 122 after he gets this belt, man. Gets this undisputed or whatnot.
Yeah.
He said he might, fight a couple more times or one more time there at 122. Then he'll go to 126.
Yo, that him and Tank fight would be fucking massive.
Yeah, of course. Of
That would be
course.
massive. I'm just thinking about it right now. This should be a zoo.
Yep.
Racism at its height. You feel me? The racism is crazy. The everything's crazy, though. And I just be fired.
They didn't really use that in a way's fight there against Scooter, but here with this, I don't know. Maybe they say something because of in a way having a much larger fan base or what, and Tank having the fan base that he has, and there's a number of fans that are Tank detractors, so that probably is something that would be a factor too. Is that there's a number of folks that want to see Tank lose. That's the thing. It's not. I mean, you do have a good amount of fans for Tank Davis, but there's a considerable contingent of fans that want to see Tank lose, and it
I haven't
makes
ran into them. I haven't ran into them. Like the people I run into when it comes to Tank, like and if you were, is delusion. That's what I run into. Is I run into delusion. I don't run into too many people who hates him. I mean, you got the regular people. You know, you got the regular. I'm not gonna name no names, but you got those guys. But they hate everybody who look like him. So I don't. I wouldn't be that specific to him. I wouldn't say that specific to him. They hate everybody like that. They even hated Andre Ward, and that guy's like the most opposite of everything they claim they hate. You feel me? But whatever. But like yeah, I don't I like with Tank when I come to people who talk about Tank, it's not I don't see hate. I usually see people who pretends that like he's blowing out C class fighters when it's not really life and death situation. That's what I be seeing. I be seeing people talk about look how skilled he was being down 3-2 to Ryan Garcia. You feel that's what I be hearing.
where big ups to everybody that's joining in live. Y'all can hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Y'all can also support by subscribing here to the YouTube channel or just hitting up our social media outlets here on Twitter and on Instagram. We also are on Facebook too. We're also live on Twitter. For those that are on Twitter, man, you can watch these podcasts on Twitter too, man. Georgie there here live says, I see Devin going up to 147 pounds in 2 3 years. He said he's struggling to make 140, so I don't think we ever see Tank versus Devin. And if Shakur resigns with Top Rank, say goodbye to Tank versus Shakur. I mean,
Nah, that's not necessary,
yeah,
though. Come on,
that's,
bro.
I mean, if they feel like the fight is big enough, if they feel like it's something where I wouldn't necessarily say like Wilder Fury type because with Wilder Fury, they're heavyweights. Yeah, we're going back to this part again. So they're heavyweights, so they command a lot of money off top. Here, when it's a lightweight division, you really don't command that much, that as much money off the top. So it would be affordable for both parties. I think that they
Now put
could, come to pull it off if
I'm gonna
need
say
be.
put it. I'm gonna say put it this way. We know what Tank does at the box office. What I'm saying is, let's say what I say happens. You feel me? You get the Shakur Navarrete on pay per view. Let's say that shit do 150. You feel me? And then right after that, he fights Lomachenko, and that should do 300K. You man, Leonard Ellerby will be the first person to fucking call Bob Arum.
He probably would. He
He'd be the
probably would.
first person. Yeah, you like,
He probably
yo.
make it. He probably like make it. And the thing is too, and I didn't mention this, but it's almost like both parties are on like the camps are kind of setting it up to be to where that is like the end game for everybody is that
Yeah.
once everybody handles their business as long as they can, then they're gonna have Tank versus Shakur. You know what I'm saying? They're
Look,
able to do that, then that's what we're going to get here at the at the end of the road, so to speak. You know what I'm
because
saying? I mean,
I'm one of the biggest Shakur fans. The reason I don't think the fight is happening next year, because I don't think he's gonna reach the necessary like number to make the fight profitable. Because let's face it, this is a fight that more than likely, like I'm pretty sure Tank is not gonna be the favorite in that fight. You feel me? If any niggas no box, he's not gonna be the favorite. So I don't think they're gonna fight him now if it's not worth a lot of money. That's why I think they're gonna wait for to see. It's up to Shakur's side to build that fight up. So that's why I'm saying 2026. He needs a couple pay-per-view fights in there. And three belts are really if he has three belts, if he gets the WBO, WBC, IBF, that shit really sells the fight. No matter what people say.
we'll see, man. I mean that it could be potentially for undisputed there at 135, but I don't think it would take that long to get that. To get that undisputed thing. First it'll have to be Devin Haney giving up all those belts, and then
Which is happening like in a couple months.
yeah, it should happen. Yeah, it should happen in a couple months. Here, if it doesn't happen, before before the fight with progress, like how the WBO did, right? With Jamal with Jamel Charlo before his fight against Canelo Alvarez, the WBO stripped him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, well, why not here? Like, why will the WBO, go ahead and strip Devin Haney before his fight against against Rick
Progress.
Story,
I
so
I think they gonna get that nigga probably like I think all of them probably gonna get that nigga like a good 30, 40 days to make a decision. And then you're gonna see the fight start to consolidate. You feel me? Then you're gonna see Top Rank start snatching three of them belts. Tank versus Isak Cruz probably gonna be for the WBA title. You feel me? And then Tank probably by the time the fights happen, Tank's gonna have like three title defenses of the WBA. Man, I'm telling you, dog, they're gonna set this shit up perfect. It's gonna be the first fight of. It's gonna be in the first half of 2026. Dog, watch.
mm.
Super event.
That's still a good ways off. That's still a good ways off, man. Like 2026. Like, man, we still ain't done with 2023
Man, 2023 is basically done, bro. It's basically done.
yet. But yeah, man. I mean, I think, yeah, while it may take some time to build, I don't think it would take like almost two plus years. There, like I said, man. The thing with Tank, man, like Tank about to turn 29, ain't he? You know,
Yeah,
so by the time he'll be past 30 by 2026.
but this is the new era, man. Oh, you don't get old nowadays until you like 37 and shit.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
we
It says,
should just
what about Devin and Tank? Everyone been wanting that fight, and Tank coaches
that's
and say
not
go
happening.
to my 40. So I mean, but how did well?
That's
Yeah,
not happening because Tank's gonna get beat up by Shakur.
okay. Devin's gonna go up to 147 pounds or something, but Tank and
Devin's gonna go up to
those
147.
camps don't like each other either, man.
Tank's
Uh,
gonna go to up to 147 after he gets beat up by Shakur in 2000 in the second half of 2026.
we'll see about that one, man. But they both of those, like I said, both Tank and Shakur have been in a number of camps together from amateurs and the pros, so they do definitely know each other. They know their strengths and weaknesses. So I mean, if they're gonna eventually face each other, then we'll see how that kind of like turns out. You know what I'm saying?
Dog, do you know how crazy it's gonna? I know it's gonna sound crazy. You know how crazy it's gonna look when, like, in a 2 year stretch, when you hear that Shakur stop Navarrete, stop Lomachenko, 11-1 Tank, and then stop Devin Haney. You know how crazy that's gonna sound?
It sounds crazy right now to be
It's
honest.
gonna happen, and it's gonna happen, bro. And it's recorded. It is. We can always come back to know that I said this shit first. I prophesized this shit.
I'm gonna clip it too, man. I'm gonna clip
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna clip it and say,
All I'm
"Hey,
wondering is, will all that be enough for him to surpass anyway?
I say it would." Like, I mean, even right now, shoot, right now, think about the thing with Inouye, right? I mean, I currently have him at number two in the pound for pound rankings, and he's been undisputed in one division, and on his way to being undisputed in another division. You'll beat a multitude of fighters that were like at the top of their respective divisions. There, while he's moved up, in those things there with like one, what is it, 108 to like now 122 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of like builds him up. But right now, he doesn't have that fight outside of the thing with Fulton. Like, Fulton is the fight that kind of stands out as the notable win that he has in his career. Like, the thing there with Donaire, like he's had two fights with Donaire. The first fight was fight of the year winner or something like that. In the second fight, he just blew by Donaire. But Fulton is the one where it's like saying, okay, he beat a guy that was clearly the top fighter in that division at 122 and blew him out. You know,
But he did that before. He did that before he fought Fulton. He did that
yeah,
when he beat Adrian Hernandez and
yeah.
Omar Alvarez. And then let's okay. Now that we here, is Fulton really better than Payano? I mean, than Payano. Is he really better than them?
Better than Juan Carlos Payano? I say
Wait.
yeah.
I mean, Emmanuel Rodriguez. I mean, is he really better than him?
Mm. Emmanuel. Ooh, damn. But the thing with Emmanuel, yeah, he retired though, man.
Yeah, but was he really better than him?
Ooh, I say he was though.
You see, I mean, I think that's like
But the thing with Robert, like, what was it like? Oh yeah, Rodriguez wasn't defeated before his fight with Inoue. And he already beat Paul Butler and Jason Maloney before that fight.
cause
And
like
and
because
well,
that's
the
what I'm
thing
saying.
too,
His but the reason, but even if you don't okay, but even if you don't think he's even if you do think Fulton's is better, you still had to think about it. So that's another name you gotta add. You feel me? It's like it's not about recognition.
nah, because
It's not,
here's the thing with Emmanuel Rodriguez, right? Like, okay, he won the bantamweight belt, earlier this year against Melvin Lopez in the vacant belt, right?
yeah,
But after his loss to Inoue, he lost that split decision to Gaballo. The only thing though was his performance against Gary Antonio Russell
that's crazy.
last October. Where he just kind
Washed
of
him.
blew him out. Yeah, he like blew him out. You know, but that's where he was at like the 118. But with um with Scooter at 122, like I don't see like anybody that outside of Inoue that could have beaten Scooter at 122.
I
Like
mean, school had a very debatable fight against Figueroa.
I feel like that was a win for him.
I mean, it's a very debatable fight against Figueroa. He fucking got walked by a C-class fighter in blue nose. You feel me? I mean, I'm not trying to shit on Fulton. I'm a big Fulton dude. I'm just saying, like, his shit could look a lot different if the Figueroa fucking shit goes the other way.
It would kind of like see like where he would be at this point of his career, man. I don't know, like given even with the resume or the amount of fighters that he had fought up to that point of the Figueroa fight, if he lost to Figueroa, that would have kind of like put him in the back of the queue, as I say. At 122, they probably would have had him have a bunch of fights where he would have to build himself back up. So
Because I really believe, cause I think by the end, like, by the time Shakur washes all these people, I say he's gonna wash. Anyway, would have been like anyway's gonna be at 130 by then. You feel me? Anyway's gonna be at like 130 by then. Even though Navarrete probably took a loss to Shakur, they probably still send him back to 130. You feel me? They're still probably find a way to get him back down. You can make that fight. That's another fucking humongous fight. So if he that's another name he added to his resume right there. You feel me? Like he still might be in the running. You feel me? It might be the sums of the part. And then,
but you know what the wildest thing though about this is though?
yeah,
You know how you were talking about Tate Davis and all of that?
yeah,
Anyway's older than him.
yeah.
Like I'm like,
But
so
the difference.
he don't know
Anyways,
how
like
many more years
the
left he
difference.
has either.
The difference is anyways accomplished. You feel me? He doesn't get fat between fights. You feel me? He stays in shape.
I mean,
He's
yeah.
not doing. He's not doing TikTok dances in his drawers.
Oh no, we don't have to get into all of that, man. I
Nah.
mean, at least we don't know. We don't know. You can see it.
Okay, this is what I wanted to ask you.
Right.
I've been dying to ask you. I keep forgetting. If hypothetically, if PBC end up going to Netflix, how does the pay-per-view situation still work, or that just the Showtime still handles, or does Paramount still handle the pay-per-view side of things?
Not if they have a whole different setup for Netflix or Amazon Prime, because It's either one of those two.
because
It's all about
Paramount
how
just
the
said
distribution deal goes with either one of those.
because
Now there was talk about having a pay-per-view still be distributed under Paramount Plus, but that ain't in the cards, man. That ain't in the cards.
I was thinking like a tank, like the right kind of tank fight, the right kind of
Yeah.
Terence Crawford fight, which still the right kind of Canelo fight, which still end up in Paramount, I would believe.
I think they'll have something set up to where it still be like under Amazon Prime or Netflix. They'll have
But
something where they work out a deal with that
but how would
somehow.
that Netflix shit work? The pay per view shit work with Netflix? Like I could see how it work like Amazon Prime. I'm gonna just treat that shit like the Zone, how the Zone shit or HBO work. But how the fuck would Netflix pay
Yeah,
per view on Netflix?
yeah. It has to be like some type of a separate package, I guess. And then Netflix would create, but I don't see how that will work. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
that would be crazy if they do pull that shit off. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I
But I mean,
definitely be
eventually,
subscribed.
eventually, before the end of the year, we're gonna see what the new PBC deal is because I think they got something that's gonna be fairly lucrative. My only thing is, how are they going to? How is the distribution package going to be, and how much content are they going to release? Because my main thing was they didn't have the dates for these fighters to go ahead and fight on these fight cards. One, and
Yeah,
so two, they would have to be able to work out something where they could have these fighters fight on like something where it's like maybe a card, a fight card once every 3 weeks, once every 2 weeks or something. You know what I'm saying? So that they'll be able to fulfill all of those fighters that they have on their roster. Because the thing is, a lot of these fighters have been like sitting for a year plus, or whatever it is. You know,
corrupt them
so
dust, get them dropped.
yep. So they gotta figure out this distribution deal that'll work out for all parties involved. So that's how that would go in my instance. But yeah, since I did that, man, it's over an hour and 30 minutes on this stream. Big ups to Lord Zoe for joining in this conversation here,
Yo,
and everybody
yo.
chat. Like I said, if y'all can hit the like button if you like the content, support the channel. So hit the subscribe button. We're moving towards 2,000 subscribers here for the Boxing Source. We appreciate the support that y'all been giving us here over the time period. And we'll get right back at it here next week. And of course, we do have the midweek report going down on Wednesday, so we're gonna try to jump in on that. And like I said before, I'm working on getting another interview in with Mario Barrios, and then also scheduled to catch up with Dimitri Salita, where he'll likely talk about what's going down with Shojan Ergashev in his upcoming fight against Silvio Matias, and then also a couple of other fights that his fighters have set up here in the near future. So we're gonna break all of that down here. Pretty much I think it's gonna be either Tuesday or Wednesday. We're gonna do that. So y'all be on the lookout for that. But with that being said, that's the end for this particular podcast. And like I say, at the end of every podcast, the point of boxing is to hit and not get hit, not understand and trade. On that note, I'm out. Have a good evening, everybody.